Well, hello everybody. This is take two. Sorry if any of you were kind of waiting over at the very first close-up that didn't quite get off the ground. I did remember to change my font size though today, so once people start chatting, I will know it. Hi, Megalina. There we go. All right, good. So now I can see a little better today. Hopefully well enough to kind of keep up with the chat a little bit. I thought today I would start right where I was, in my office, hanging out with the Teal. As I'm sure most of you know by now. Oh boy, it's so nice to be able to see the chat a little bit. Now don't hold me to being able to see it for the whole time, of course. But nice. It's nice to see everybody. Hi everybody. Okay. So anyway, Teal hangs out here in the office with me these days rather than with her kittens in the annex, who we will go see in just a little bit. I know you guys are all excited to see them. She's purring. I don't know if you can hear it. She's got a real quiet purr most of the time. Hang on. Yeah, well, anyway, she's got a quiet purr, but she's got a real loud meow. So she lives in here these days, and part of that is because she was just done nursing her kids, and it was important to get her over that. And then some of it was also trying to isolate her issues that she's having, sort of peeing and pooping in weird places lately. And both of those are going quite well, I think, in my opinion. She seems like she's starting to put on weight. She definitely feels better about her life right now. Much, much happier. Her ribs are starting to fill in a bit, which is good. So that's all good. The pee and the poop situation is still somewhat resolving, but also somewhat resolved. It's good. I've started to kind of figure her out in that regard, I think. That, and I also think that most of whatever's going on there is just about the stress, and that she's going to get over it real soon. But mostly, she doesn't even have any issues anymore. Everything ends up in the litter box the way that it ought to for the vast majority of everything. And the rest of it, I think, is not far behind. No pun intended. I'm not even sure how that works as a pun. But I said behind, so there you go. All right, yeah, that's Teal. Here we are. Oh, okay, in my office. Yeah, all right. All right. She is so sweet. She makes the best office companion because all she does all day, mostly, is just sit where we first saw her. She sits on her cat tree. Sometimes she sits here. Sometimes she sits in some other places. But she just kind of sits quietly and takes care of herself, naps. Very rarely I've seen her play. She doesn't seem like she's too big on play, although maybe she will be, again, once she's feeling herself. Maybe she'll be even more of a player. I have seen her play a little bit, so I know she does it, which is really cute to see. But so far, it's kind of rare. But then, obviously, her big thing is when I first come in the room, she's got to say hi to me. She's very loud. She wants all of the attention. She demands that I pay attention to her. She wants food. She always wants food to be in her dish, just like a cat would, of course. She eats, and then she gets on the desk, and she likes to sit on the desk more than she likes to sit on my lap. But she loves to be right there with me and demand attention, too. So she demands food. She demands attention. She wants me to pet her, and she'll start headbutting my fingers on the keyboard if I'm not petting her, even if she has food. So I know it's about the attention. And then after she gets her food, after she gets her attention, she goes back to her tree and just chills out. Real easy office companion type kitty. So she's going to do great for somebody. She, I don't think it would be impossible to have her around other cats. She gets along better than a lot of mom cats do. So, I feel like she absolutely could get along with other cats, but I don't feel like for her, I don't feel like that's something she really wants or cares about too much. So I don't think it would be wrong at all for her to go to a single cat house. All right, so I'm going to walk around the house a little bit with you guys before we end up in the... look at that other orange boy all the way down there. Oh, I've got the super zoom now. Do you think we can try it? There you go. Not too super, but at least you can see the little orange boy down there. That's Teaspoon down there. Oh, so cute. And this is Loganberry up here, of course. So we're going to walk around a little bit. If this stream dies before we make it to the annex, then we'll start another. Hopefully it doesn't, though. Let's find out. That's Eddie down there, I believe. And we have Teal asking for us. Now I'm just having fun pressing the Zoom button since we have one. What are you going to do? So, fun fact, do you see those scratches under the leftmost pane of the door? Those aren't scratches like you would guess. They aren't from claws. They are from teeth. They're from Custard, specifically. Gets so angry sometimes when he sees Loganberry inside that room and he's out here, and vice versa. But obviously, when Custard's out here, he will bite the door. That's he put some serious teeth into it too. That's just a sign of, I guess, their sort of animosity towards each other. So this is Teaspoon. You know Teaspoon. I've called the doc and left a voicemail to... Look, we're getting to you. We're getting to you. I promise. You just wait there a minute, okay? Yeah, okay. Hold your horse. Yeah, no, just hold on. So I've left a voicemail for his doctor. I've got to call and leave another one, though, because I haven't heard back yet. We're trying to schedule now his official surgery, which should be coming up real soon. He's just a perfect, gentle giant around here, though. Such a total sweetheart. And he loves to kind of, well, I shouldn't say loves to hang out with the kittens, because if I put him in their room, he'll check them all out and maybe play a little bit, but then eventually he ends up at the door just waiting to please be let out. But he's good with everybody. He never says a discouraging word. He would be very at home on the range. So, who else we got here? We have got Raindrop, one of the 3 Tabby sisters that all still need adopters as well. And I'm not going to make too much noise about that because I still have a bunch of things I think to get done on my end that I have been working very hard on, but have yet to yield any results I can demonstrate. But I would be remiss not to at least mention that these 3 Tabby twins, you'll meet the other 2 momentarily, not these 2, need their adopters. They're ready to go home any day now. They're wonderful, sweet girls. So that's Raindrop, and I think the kids we were just looking at wandered down this way. Maybe there's some others too. Let's go take a look. There's no lights on in here. That was Raindrop and her sister. This is let me pause. Oh my goodness, see the colors. I told you the colors would fool me if I'm not looking at them together. That is Sprout. So that's Sister Sprout. There we go. She was the one that was so sweet on the, I think on Welly and Squall when they were little, wasn't she? They're just all 3 of them. This is such a great class of kittens. They're just fantastic. So, and then speaking of, there's Wellingtons. He also needs to be adopted. And they all get along great, so they would be great pairs together. But technically, Welly, the boy here, and Squall, his sister, are a different family. But like I said, they've been living together as one big family for quite some time. And I would definitely support sort of a grouped adoptions between them is fine. I think it would be great. In fact, I really still think, Raindrop is so social, both with people and cats. She would be great with anybody. But it would be fun to see her go with Serenity. Maybe. Serenity's been a little more independent these days, so maybe even that's not too important now. I don't know. It's, these changes, they come about, and that's fine. Well, I thought for sure Serenity was going to be right here where she hangs out most of the day, but instead we got Squall. So this is Wellington's sister, and she is just the softest kitty, probably. It's like petting a marshmallow, a silky, fuzzy marshmallow. Don't eat those ones, by the way. If you find one of those, do not put it in your s'more. And this is the third of the Tabby sisters. Then look at all three of them have these amazing eyes, but this is Drizzle. Drizzle is anyway. I was going to say all three of them have these amazing eyes, and she's right here where we can see them perfectly in this sunlight. Let me see if I can really catch them. I love their eyes. All three of these girls, Drizzle and her two sisters. Look at they're just this rich, sort of like yellowish brown. It's just so that's not entirely getting it. We were seeing it better a second ago. This is a little overexposed, so it's not really catching the full depth. I know you don't want me to hold your head and make you look at the camera. Here, just look right here for me. Oh, there you go. Now see, that's what we're talking about. Look how pretty that color is. All three of them have that. So of the three, Drizzle's the one I think that is sort of the most, I don't want to say high strung, but, well, and then here she is getting all excited about something outside. I don't see anything, probably a bee or something flying around. She's not high strung like some cats are high strung, but of the three, she's the one most likely to be like carrying a toy around and growling, you know. That's Drizzle, I think, of for that position. So they're real fun together, though. All of them are. So again, we have Raindrop, we have Drizzle, we have Squall, we have Teaspoon, and Sprout. And they all need adopters, although Teaspoon's not quite ready to go yet. Pay no attention to that hairball. I'm covering it up now with my hand. Teaspoon's not quite ready to leave yet. Everybody else I mentioned is ready to go right now, in theory. If you sent in your application at kitten.academy and the people at DAWS that review those applications approved it, then there would be no reason that you could not have one of these fine kittens hanging out with you this very weekend. Something to consider, I suppose. You said it. I know. It sounds like I want to get rid of you. But that's only because I do, kind of. Real mixed emotions about seeing these kids leave. But I've had some time now, I think, to come to grips with it, too, which is important. I think I'm starting to really get... actually, I was just saying to TJ last night, because I really have been putting a lot of mental work into like seeing all five of them go. And Serenity, too, if we find her, she counts. And I really have been starting to kind of really make peace with that, the fact that they are going to go soon. That's not Serenity, that's Ari. And then last night, here, this is, if we're going to lose it, we're going to lose it here. But like I said, I'll start a new one if we do. So there's Serenity. Anyway, last night DJ said something about Squall and Wellington and how they were when they were little. That was just an emotional sentiment that she made. And I had to tell her, I'm like, you knock that off right now. I've been putting a lot of work into getting over all that. It's the, yeah. But despite the fact that I just spent so much time talking about that, I really am feeling pretty good about the fact that, soon they're going to find homes that are going to be better for them, and I'm ready for that now. So I think that's good. They mostly followed me in here. They're just going to follow me around. So that's Serenity up there sitting on her own at the top of the cat tree, as she often does. She is... very frequently kind of a solitary cat that likes to kind of go do her own thing, but she also gets extremely playful because she is a kitten. She just has these crazy, like, zoomy sprees where she runs. You know what? She reminds me, I think, a lot of Maggie that way, where Maggie can be very independent and spends most of her time doing her own thing. I hardly even could tell you where Maggie spends the vast majority of an average day. But then she has her times when she's extremely zoomy and just goes up and down the house, all the way from one end of the house to the other, and climbs up the windows and Velcros herself to the windows and the walls and just is crazy. And then she's got other times where she seeks you out and just demands attention. You know, she demands to be petted and snuggled and wants to sit in your lap. And that's, I think, is almost exactly what you get with Serenity. The same things in the same proportions. So that's really who I would compare her to if we had to. Actually, I think that's more apt than even I realize. I think the more I pay attention to that as a comparison, the more it makes sense, except for the floof, of course. So something to think about. That was Serenity. This is Eddie. Serenity was that beautiful gray kitty at the top of the cat tree, though, that I was talking about being temperamentally a lot like Maggie. And I would say that, like I was saying before, Serenity does do pretty well by herself these days. And like Maggie, she's got a certain amount of energy she has to burn off, but I think a person could handle that by themselves. So although I've been saying it would be nice to see Serenity go with some other kitten for that purpose, if nothing else, it's still always nicer to see them go together. And if somebody wanted that, I don't think that it would be a bad choice at all. It would be a good choice. But I think also if Serenity kind of went on her own, she'd probably be just fine with that too. So, hi, buddy. Look at those green eyes. Are those spectacular or what? This is Eddie. He does not need an adopter. Sorry, ladies. He's taken. But Drizzle does, and she's got some beautiful eyes too. Hey, let's have an eye contest. Oop. Kind of different kind of staring contest. Oh, we're not going to get the right. Yeah, this camera not going to be fair. It's going to favor Eddie. That's the camera, though. Believe me. All right, let's go see some tiny tinies. I've done enough trying to mention the fact that these kittens need adopters. I think you guys know that. You know where to go, so let's not... Oh, yeah, somebody stepped on this camera, and I need to tighten up the screws that hold it up. As you can see, if this camera's on live right now, it is not seeing the right thing. I think I can lift it up. I have to guess where it's pointed, though. A little lower. There we go. Yeah, let's try that. One of them's probably going to just jump right on it now and knock it down again. Let's head upstairs. Actually, is Teaspoon still right here? He's going to come with us. We're going to bring a teaspoon for scale. All right, buddy? Come on. This way you get an idea how big the kittens are. Because you saw Teaspoon just now. He's the same size as these actually much younger kittens. He's a little bit small still. But you can see they're of a scale, right? Okay, so here we go. Now, of course, we could put him next to Custard, and you could get the idea both ways. Custard's not available, and Eddie's going to run away if I put this guy down next to him, isn't he? Oh, well, anyway, my point being, he's still much smaller than a full-size cat. But you're about to see he's much bigger than the tiny kittens. Here we go. Because he's like a 7 pound kitty right now, maybe? Nah, maybe not even that, 6. Yeah. And, somebody like Custard is 14, if he's an ounce. Whoa, I didn't mean to knock you over. I just wanted you to get pushed back a little bit, pal. I know. We're going to look at you one sec. I know. What are you trying to say to me? Oh, is that it? So this is Doubloons right here, the girl, Doubloons. And this is the boy, Quid. So that's Doubloons and Quid. Hi, kiddos. Now, they got collars yesterday. You may have noticed the collars. You may have noticed the collar colors being published. If you did, don't worry. They will be getting those collars back, and they will be the same collars, the same colors. So, yeah, they'll be getting them back. But what happened was last night, We go through a lot of extra steps with the collars. So kittens that are this age and this size, and these are, 4 of these are very typical 7, 8-week-old kittens. Perfect average weight and size for that age. And then one of them is a younger kitten that came and joined this group, and he's a little bit, younger. He's probably pushing 5 weeks, if that. He is such a cutie. I'm distracted again. I'm probably like 3 levels deep on a ramble here, but such a little cutie beans. Where was I going with that? Somebody help me out here. I was going somewhere good with it. I was saying something about how they're average for their size, for their age. And I was going to say something about how... Well, I don't know where I was going. Maybe you don't either. Oh, the collars. Yes, thank you, Sil. Thank you so much, Sil. And thank you for doing the posts on the website. I need to that's a whole different thing. Okay, so the collars, yes. So what I was saying is that we put collars on them yesterday. We go through a lot of extra care to make sure that the collars are going to fit them. And kittens that are this size, this 8-week-old size, they don't sell collars that we have ever found any collars that will fit them. They sell lots and lots of collars. You can find all of them all day long on Amazon that say they are for kittens. Those are way too big. They would fit this guy. They would not fit these guys, not by a long shot. So we had the _ kitten generously send us hundreds and hundreds of collars that are sized to fit these kittens, and that's what we use. But the clasps on them are sometimes they're a little bit hard. So you want to use, when you have a cat, almost all cat collars, like a sign of what differentiates a cat collar from a dog collar is that cat collars have sort of a pressure release on them so that if it gets caught on something while the cat is adventuring, it will come off. So they aren't meant to just stay on no matter what, like a dog collar is. Dogs just don't seem to, I guess, get into stuff the same way. I don't know. So they all have that sort of quick pressure release on them. The trick being that also, just like the size of the collar, the size of the pressure release is not good for tiny, tiny kittens. It takes way too much force to get the collar to pop off. So if they get it caught on something, it doesn't come off as easily as it ought to. And one thing that is very frequently happening in kittens this size, especially the very first times that they are ever wearing a collar, is you'll put the collar on their neck and they will be trying to play with it and bite it and get their jaw kind of stuck under it. And then if you've done everything properly, it will pop off and that will be the end of the story. But what we experienced last night is that happened, a very common occurrence, and it wasn't quite able to pop off easily enough for little doubloons here. And that made her quite upset. It only lasted for 5 seconds or something, but it was a very upset 5 seconds. And then we popped the collar off of her, and then I took the collars off of everybody else, and I'm going to take them back to the collar modification table. And we're going to make them even easier to pop off, which, honestly, this time I'm probably going to go too far the other way, and they're just going to fall off all the time. And they're just going to be cat toys that you see around the room on the floor. That's the other thing that happens quite a bit. But I guess better that than a repeat of what happened last night. So nobody was injured, by the way. I should say that. It just was... it was a lot to see, and part of it did happen on the stream. So my apologies if you did see that. But again, it lasted all of 5 seconds, and there were no injuries. It just, it's just a little bit of extra stress. That's all. So that's doubloons. She's the reason nobody's wearing their collars right now, but they will get them back later, hopefully today. And there you have it. That was our excitement for last night. Oh, and then on a related note, all 5 of them spent last night in the spa, as we like to call the master bedroom when the kittens visited. So that was their very first night out away from this room. and they spent the night with us and Teaspoon and Custard. So it was the 2 orange boys and these 5 kittens all hanging out together with DJ and I all night long. They did great. It's interesting. It's so interesting to see the differences between classes. And there is, I think, sort of an average class that I could maybe try to describe or calculate somehow. But mostly what I go by is just sort of the difference between the last class and then this class. That's sort of where I land. So, because both of those are going to be fresh in my mind, especially fresh because the last class was in the bedroom the night before. And the difference is pretty stark in a lot of ways. I'd say the number one difference is that these kids, none of them really snuggled with me as their first choice. There was snuggling with me, and it was much enjoyed. And it seems like this is going to be a group that likes to snuggle sort of under the blankets, which is something that we haven't had in a few classes. Some classes some kittens just live under the blankets, and some of them just never really want to go under there at all. And the last class is we don't go under the blankets class. So the kittens that you just saw that I was saying need to be adopted, they're not going to try to get under the blankets in the bed with you, most likely. These kittens, on the other hand, totally do. One big difference. But then the other thing is that they I think they spent some time snuggling with DJ. I've got pictures of them all snuggled up around her, so I know they like to do that. But then when it came down to it, these guys all snuggled with Loganberry. They mostly all just spent the night snuggled up to and snuggled up by Loganberry, and he was grooming them and taking care of them and disciplining them a little bit. When they would get too forward, he'd give them a little smack, and then he'd groom them again. So good lessons all around too. But that was what they all 5 of them really preferred, was the company of little Loganberry. And I guess who can blame them really? Even now, look at this. They're all turned away from me. It's almost pointed, isn't it? Oh my goodness. Kids, what did I do? Did I say something? Was it in one of the close-ups? Actually, right now they're actually paying attention to whoever it is that's in the litter box making all the scratching noises. But it still would be nice to have some kitten faces on this stream, so maybe I should come around to this side. No, I'm going to look at you guys. I said faces. The litter. I'm not going to look at the litter box. Faces. Not. Yeah, you know. Hi, kids. What do we got over here, huh? So, what can I tell you about these kids that is newsworthy and relevant besides the fact that they spent... Okay, so first off, they spent the night in the spa last night, and another contrast from the last class is, the last class does fine, by the way. They don't have any litter box issues now, but you may recall, like I do, that the last class had all kinds of trouble. I had all kinds of trouble getting them to use the litter box rather than, say, the corner of the floor. And that's when we started really putting those pee pads around in the bedroom to try to sort of get ahead of their constant peeing and pooping in the corners that they were doing when they were this same age, this age right here. And this group does not do that at all. Not a single mistake, not a single corner poop. They are 100% litter box users. Even the small guy, I think I've mentioned this before, he just impresses me because he can't just climb into our litter box here. I can't show you because Teaspoon's in there actively pooping. But the small guy can't just climb up into this litter box. It's still just a little bit too tall for him. He has to sort of jump and then pull himself up to get in there. And he does every time. He makes the effort because he knows that's where it goes. So these guys are just perfect that way. And the other guys took a little more time to get that lesson together. So, in fact, I feel like of our last probably 4 or 5 classes, I don't know, I'm not thinking of anybody specific. I'm just thinking of the last time I had that feeling of these guys just started using the litter box on day 1 and never an issue. Really, I can't think of the last class we had that was so good at it. So that's a nice thing, isn't it? Well, I would offer to weigh these kids with you guys, but the eagle-eyed among you might have noticed the scale is in my office with Teal. So I'll just have to make a point to bring it in here for tomorrow's close-up. Oh, Karen, the kitten-sized litter box. No, I've thought about putting. I made a big deal about it to illustrate the fact that he makes the effort, but it's not. He does not need a kitten-sized litter box. He's doing just fine. I just am so proud of him knowing that that's the thing to do instead of, some cats would just be on the floor. No. All right. He's such a little floof, isn't he? He's so small still. He is becoming, I'm happy to say, somewhat less pear-shaped. I think if I just met him today, I would still be like, that is one pear-shaped kitty. But it's a night and day difference. He's probably, his belly's probably half the circumference it was. Look at that. I can almost, but not quite, touch my fingers around the biggest part of his belly. And I know I did that comparison earlier where I could easily get them around his rib cage and not even close around his belly. So that's good. That's probably mostly down to the dewormer. Oh, good. I'm glad I said that because that reminds me that there have been a fair number of bad poops and vomits going around right now. And DJ was right to point out to me last night that that's probably still down to the dewormer. It might even continue for another day or so before we have to say, all right, this is not just a dewormer. There's something else going on here. So just an FYI. But nobody seems like, they are all eating. Nobody's lethargic. Nobody seems especially put out. And I had been discussing on the Discord about how we've been doing this now for long enough that if we see vomit and diarrhea, we don't necessarily think that's something that is going to be a concern all by itself. We usually are going to be like, all right, but if the kitten is perky and eating and everything else is fine, there's no other symptom to connect it to, a lot of times we'll just be like, all right, let's wait this out and see what happens. And that would definitely be the case for these kids, with or without the dewormer being there as like an obvious cause. So they're doing just great. Hi, Quid. Hi, buddy. You were just sitting right here staring at me like a cutie bean, and then you put on the grumpo face for the camera, don't you? It's all an illusion, though. Now I know you busted. You busted, buddy. I saw how you're secretly a cutie bean. Boop. That's Quid. That's Bill. Of course, Bill, you want one of those? Come here, buddy. Boop. Oh, almost self-booping there, pal. You take the last mile? That's cool. So, those of you that are tuning in late and don't necessarily know the characters, Bill is our late arrival. He is not actually related to the other kittens in this room, although he looks very much like he could. If you had to pick which kitten was not related, you would say that one. You would be wrong, though. Farthing is the biological sister of Quid, and our little floofy boy here is just the spiritual brother of Quid. So Quid is a boy, Bill is a boy, Farthing is a girl, and then over here we have De Balloons, who's also a girl, and over there is Ledger, who is a boy. What is he doing? think he's been learning a lot about how to play from Teaspoon. Like this has Teaspoon's sort of like slow. Uh, I did say that about him from the beginning, didn't I? That Ledger was like a little bit more easy going. Like he sits at home because he's chill, as opposed to Quid who sits at home because he's grumpy. That was the story I was trying to sell. Oh, Quid has a big purr and he's starting to do it. I know I hate to point the camera away from what's going on. Maybe I can point it at this guy, but put it next to Quid so you can hear him purr. I'm going to be quiet for a minute. Let's see if we can make that work. I don't think it's going to work. Now I'm getting extra purrs though up on my face. Let's see if we can make the face camera work here. I know I'm really pushing my luck. Oh, and now he walks away. Okay, never mind. I tried. Sorry for the shaky camera work there for a minute. Okay. Well, this is Bill. There we go. If his color looks a little green there, that's because we are in the shadow of the diffuser on the window. The one window, I had them on most of the windows in here for a while. There's only one left there. There we go. They're so great. It's just a sheet of plastic that looks like that. And you put it on the window and it makes rainbows all over the room. And it's beautiful when the sun comes in the afternoon. But sometimes, if the kitten happens to be sitting in the right spot, it can make them look like they're a little discolored. I think he's moved out of the way now. Buddy, he's trying so hard to get snuggled in here, but I am not sitting at a good location for him to do it. Buddy, I know. Okay, so we saw everybody, and I know this has been going on for a long time, so we should probably wrap it up. Let me say one more time, thank you all so much for joining me and the kittens. I appreciate it. They appreciate it. We'll try to do another close-up as soon as tomorrow, if I can. Thursday, maybe not. I know I've got some errands to run that are going to keep me out of the house for a while then, so we'll see. But I do want to try. DJ's asked me to really put in the effort, so let's see what we can do. So, Quid. Doubloons. Okay, doubloons. Quid. Ledger's come over here from his cactus time. And his sister, Farthing. And then the new boy, Bill. I know, pal. I'm not making a comfy bed for you, but I'm about to get up and make a comfy bed for you. And now Teaspoon is heading back into the litter box again. Good, pal. Bill's actually got a pretty good purr going. Let's see if we can hear that to see us out today. All right, Teaspoon, let's get out of here while we can.